TGIF Warriors, how's everyone doing today? Hello, Omar, Susie, Tom, Steve. Everyone doing okay? Everyone know what day it is today? Hi, Elena. Craig. Blue moon. It's a blue moon. Now, I've never seen a blue moon. Oh yeah, once at a hazing, and it's a blue one, Elena. 2 in a month is a blue moon. Yeah. The only blue moon I saw was during a hazing at a frat after someone got paddled. Okay, so anyway, some of these turning points will not happen exactly on the day. Once in a blue moon, the market can make new highs, new all-time highs with the DSI at 88. So I got the DSI from Blake yesterday, and the Dixie is at 88. It was the highest number on the whole board of everything. So you got to think, it should be a layup to make new highs here. I mean, Greg is looking for new highs, but we're still stalling, and we're right around this, this 97.80 pivot. May not get going today. Something that somewhat, or was up until about 5 minutes ago, is how the yen is holding with the S&Ps down sharply. So we'll see if we can get one more jiggle to the upside. Also, crude oil is now in its second drive. Here we go. Shows on the 1. See that? Here's 1. Confirmed. Here's 2. Diverging. So we'll see. 64 came very close to 61.8, which is 63.93. Didn't quite get there. So we'll see. I don't know if we're going to have a resolution on any of this today. And I know a lot of people think that we could just go straight to new lows in the S&Ps, but there is a possibility this is the first break in S&Ps from the recovery, except when Saeed was on and talked about a higher low when Trader 1 SC was on here. So we'll see if we could hold for one more shot up in the S&Ps, one more pop in US dollar yen. US dollar yen did not even rally 38% yet. It's been 28, and I still think that there might be more left. I believe the 10-year is now challenging that 1035 level. Take a quick look. Close enough for government work. Okay, so here's your daily. So we're now entering what could be 3. We're not quite there. Here's a low at 234.5, so almost there at 236. Perhaps a third drive, and the end's going to be a good buy when yields bottom out here. There are some people saying, look at this. We get through these lows. Look at this moving average. It's a 200-week moving average. So this line off these 2 lows come in around 220, so there's plenty left. Maybe that's going to be the next wave down in the stock market if we get a failing rally. What a great trade this has been. So we're almost at the 88 target in euro pound. And a lot of people were bearish, but once we started finally closing over 86.50, it began to accelerate. I think this is just the first wave here that may stop at 88, but then just, measured move 85 to 88. Once we break through, it gives you 91. And maybe we're finally going to get that third drive in euro pound up towards 94. And of course, it's much more about pound weakness than euro strength. Okay, so that is a nice follow through on the week in euro pound. Let's see, metals. Silver underneath the wedge, getting a throw over here. Okay, maybe if I adjust it, Maybe we're right there. Maybe we're right there. Okay. So I'd have a hard time shorting silver after this day, but the RSI picture is pretty ugly. I don't think I have any divergences. No, and the momentum's so low that even though you have a divergence, they're not high probability reversals for me with an 18 reading. Okay. See what the gold looks like. Gold either, maybe we get a little pop here. But gold has a lot of confluence on the weekly, where these two moving averages are beginning to converge between 1240 and 1250. That could set up some type of intermediate term buy if we get a low and it begins to perform there. So keeping an eye on the metals possibly for next week. The gold shares as well will diverge down there. So I think that we put out a warning on some of the cryptos that, and even Greg yesterday said we're due for a correction. So let's just run through them real quick and then I'll hand it off to Blake. We have Norm Winsky with us today, and I believe Andre is going to drop in and talk to us about, down 800. Okay. So pretty good break. But when you think about it, we went from 3,200 to 8,250, so $5,000 move. Almost more than a double from 3,200, almost a triple. So, just in round numbers. Okay, Andre is here. Okay, so I'm not sure if Steve's going to be here too, but glad that you're here, buddy. We get to see some Picasso harmonic work from Andre. So, maybe we're going to pull back to 6,000. I mean, halfway back would be 5,200 or so. But definitely one heck of a move, right? Wasn't that a nice move? And if you were here in ForexAnalytix, there were a few of us that were constructive down here at the 78.6 level of the first bounce. And then once we cleared this area, it was just go on vacation and come back in a month. Okay. Ethereum's probably looking heavy here too. Yeah. And Litecoin did not, it made just a marginal new high. Looks like a 2 drive to me here in Litecoin. Okay, so hope everyone had a good week. I know you could have a better week if you immerse yourself with us. Hi, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff caught GBTC in his IRA. Could have owned that in your IRA. So I recommend you at least try this. If your 10 days to you are dissatisfying, which I really doubt, I'll mail postage due your $1 refund. But you can't drive and navigate the markets, I don't think, without a dashboard. You can't drive without a dashboard, even though computers are doing it. But here's our dashboard if you haven't been here before. You get all the different types of research, right? You get all the charts, you get Elliott wave harmonic, basic technical, candlesticks, and macro. So here's a weekly on the euro. Look at that falling wedge. That's a very nice look, which has implications of higher. Just quickly, what I see in euro, and it's certainly hard to oh, how about that? I don't know who that is. Mr. Robot. But anyway, this formation right here, if you just do a measured move, the breakdown here, and you take it from here and then call this a breakdown, it measures like 110.80, 110.60. So we may not be done yet. But with the DSI at 88, I have a hard time getting long the dollar. And at the same time, technically, I have a hard time getting long the euro. So for me, it's no trade right now. No trade. So the only thing I'm trying here is because I think there might be one more period of risk up. Okay, so I believe this is, you get commentary from this pop-up that we have. Also want to remind everyone to get a hold of Trent and Justin. You should be getting a that trade's not for me, Gerald. So I'd look for a rally. I don't just, I don't have FOMO. You have to get a hold of Trent and Justin. You could have more than one account. You could get reimbursed if you're not in the U.S. for your subscription, or get a rebate check for what you're doing naturally anyway as a trader. And they'll handle you right away. Here's your frequently asked questions, and you could contact them on Skype. I've done it. They'll pick it up. Just send a Skype request to them, and I'll bet you they get back to you within the same day. So I hope everyone had a good week. We had some great guests this week, and the team's always doing a good job edifying the community every day. And I want to thank everyone for supporting us. And let me ask a question. Who hasn't subscribed that enjoys faith so much they're going to do it today? Anyone out there? If so, give me a Y. Okay, there's one. Just one? Okay, because Friday's a great day to do it. Gives you the whole weekend to navigate and go over all the research. It's going to take you some time to go over all the different research that we have here. So to be prepped for next week, because next week could be the big week of maybe this rebound in the S&Ps. If it's not terminating today, could terminate next week, and crude's approaching an important area of 61.8 up near 64. So you want to get ready for next week. Blake, how are you today? I'm sure you're fine.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm just happy it's Friday. That's all that's to say.
I agree.
And thank God Andre's here, because I just don't want to talk. So I'm going to pass it over to Andre right now.
Okay.
No, just kidding. I'm joking. He's probably like, what?
He LOL'd you. He's ready.
I'm about ready to invoke the laptop toss. You ever seen my YouTube video of the laptop toss?
Mm-mm.
You never have?
Mm-mm. Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, you've seen it. Stelios.
How far did you throw it?
Huh?
How far was it? An Olympic record?
Let me pull on.
Like a shot put?
Stelios thinks I'm a god, so he's seen it. But you, on the other hand, you might not have. Joking. I'm joking.
I know.
Joking.
I've never seen it.
No, I'm joking. But no, it's actually my pinned tweet. If you guys.
Oh, okay.
I've had it pinned here for like eons. But yeah. Here, I'm just going to give you a little preview of what this is. It's basically, I hate trading the cable.
Okay.
And if you've never seen it, here, wait, hold on, let me see.
And I hate. Yeah.
And then I'll just So, but let me just show you my form here, so just so you can see.
Like a discus, you throw it.
Yeah. I can't believe you've never seen this. So this was filmed a couple 3-4 years ago.
2015.
Is it 2015?
Fall on a beautiful day in Arizona.
Yeah, and but you have to see my form.
Okay.
The form's great. Not like I was ever an Olympic discus thrower, but
you did throw it like a discus. This was Thanksgiving Day. You were very grateful.
Yeah, but watch this. Watch how good. I mean, I have to admit. Ooh, yeah, look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a good
about
one.
30 yards. Nice. About 30 yards. Did you ever use that laptop again?
No. Believe it or not, that was an old Panasonic Toughbook, and I actually turned it on afterwards.
It turned on?
It turned on.
Wow.
But no,
you're a character, Blake.
But anyway, I picked up some cable yesterday. I bought some at the close, because we're at this 127% extension, or just shy of it at 127 I'm sorry, I bought it like 128, like 05 or something like that. Small piece. Then I got limited into another piece when I got up at 127.65 or 68 or something like that. I had it ahead of the 161% extension. Now my stops are, and you can see the pattern in play. My stops are really close, actually. The pattern in play is here, but I started entering it yesterday, and then I have a stop that's just below the market. And I mean, it missed my stop by about 7 pips. So I haven't thrown the laptop yet, but every time I trade the cable, I get into this, like, why the hell am I trading the cable? And obviously there's Stelios, you may know the news. Looks like the cross-party talks have failed, right?
That is correct. And also Theresa May has also said that she's going to, after the fourth withdrawal agreement vote in June, will set a timetable for Tory elections. So she's going to go regardless of the outcome.
She's gone.
Yeah. I mean, she's had nine lives already, but yeah, she's gone.
Right. Now, would you view Theresa May leaving as a positive?
Theoretically, yes, but you have to see who's going to replace her. It looks like, I mean, we've had 3 people already putting their names forward, the most important one being Boris Johnson. So if Boris Johnson becomes the leader, the other 2 being Dominic Raab, the former Brexit minister, and Penny Mordaunt, however you say her name, who is a defense secretary. But Boris Johnson is a very hardliner Brexit guy. So if Boris Johnson succeeds, I think it would be negative for the pound. If the other 2 do, I think it would be probably positive. So it will depend.
It's interesting. Okay, so regardless, it seems like Theresa May is on the way out. The pound has suffered as a result. Now, we're obviously very oversold at this point, and if you guys haven't seen the daily sentiment index, let me pull it up really quick.
I was surprised that Dixie, that's the highest reading I've ever seen, Blake, when I got it yesterday.
The dollar?
Dixie, yeah.
The DSI?
No, yeah, wasn't it like 88 or something?
Oh yeah, no, we've been in the 90s before, but maybe looking at it, but it's relatively high, and I highlight the ones that are, I think, are fairly important here, and you can see that the pound is at 12, which is pretty extreme. Obviously, the Aussie's at 10, which is extreme as well. So, because they're so extreme, they're at risk of a reversal at this point. And when I look at the cable, and the whole reason why I started buying it yesterday is that the 4-hour RSI was way oversold. Matter of fact, I don't know if we might have been this oversold before, but we're pretty damn close to, like, I mean, that I can see just extending my 4-hour charts as far as possible. Well, I guess we have been a little bit more oversold in the past, but we're getting close to pretty extreme levels here. And being as extreme as we are, daily sentiment is low. I may end up getting stopped out before, chances are, because it's me trading the cable. If it was you or one of you at home, you might have a different outcome, but because it's me, the pound and I just don't, we kind of mix like oil and water. So chances are I'll get stopped out. The pound's going to bounce 400 pips right after I get stopped out. That's pretty much par for the course for me trading the cable. So look, I'm man enough to admit it that I'm just not a great cable trader. So there, take it for what it's worth. But my stops are really close to the lows now. So, and I'm hoping that maybe that was the low, and I can avoid, that and get some sort of bounce here. But what I am looking for is a bounce up towards, like, back to the 130 level, 129 and change. But we'll see. It's been obviously trading really heavy at this stage. But you look at the dollar. The dollar is also, struggling here at the 618 retracement, and so if the euro bounces, maybe the cable will bounce. You can see that the euro's holding above the 618. Benedict pointed out the euro pound is really strong, and it is. The euro pound is actually we are near, I think, the 50% retracement. Let me double check. Yeah, we're 50% retracement of this move lower, and that's coming, up rather quickly. And the euro pound has had a really, substantial bounce, and a lot of that has to do with obviously the pound just getting, raked over the coals. But if the euro continues to rally here, perhaps the euro pound, once it hits the 50% retracement, might allow for the pound to bounce a little bit as well with the euro. So like I said, fortunately my position's not big. I'm not aggressively long the cable, because I know it's counter trend. Whenever I trade counter trend, I tend to be trade pretty light. But if you think about where the cable was at, the cable was trading at 132 just 2 weeks ago. We've had a 500 pip drop or 450 pip drop in just, a week and a half, 2 weeks. So the cable might be due for a bounce. I'm hoping it is, and like I said, my timing's not always great with the cable. So if I were you listening to me, I would be thinking this, and then this is just and I'm already in it, so it's it's neither here nor there. But if I were you listening to me, I'd be like, yeah, maybe let's let Blake get stopped out, and then maybe try to play it on the long side on Monday. That's the way I would be thinking about it if I were you guys, knowing my history, my track history with the cable. But anyway, but that's my focus today right now is hopefully I don't get stopped out. But if we do bounce, and let's just think about this technically speaking, if we do bounce back above, see this previous support that comes in at 127.70. So if we close, like let's say we close back above 127.70, or maybe even better yet above 128 by the end of the day, and there's a lot of day between now and the end of the day. If we close the day back above 128, that's going to be a false breakdown, which is good, technically. Now, obviously, there's like an endless amount of news coming out from the UK regarding Brexit, and it's like a non-stop bludgeoning of news. So you got to navigate through all of that as well. So just because you have a technical setup that may set up for a reversal, it doesn't mean much in the world of trading the pound with all the Brexit news surrounding it. Now, I'm gonna tell you something that I do. I don't want to say I do. One of the things that I do implement when I'm trading the cable, no matter what, is I do have a hard stop, and I do have a hard stop in. And if I get stopped out, I have to just take my computer keyboard, shatter it into 100 little pieces, and be frustrated. But it's better than some news hitting the wires and the cable dropping 200 pips and me not having a stop. So whenever I trade the cable, I put in a hard stop, and I've been trading pretty small, like relatively speaking. So when I look at my size, and I always talk about size matters in the currency market. It really does when you're trading. My size versus the size that you trade might be completely different. You might trade 100,000 in currency, and I'm trading 2 million in currency, or you're trading 50,000 in currency, and I might be trading 5 million in currency. It doesn't really matter. But the fact of the matter is, I tend to trade about, at this moment in time, I'm trading about a third of my normal size when I'm trading the cable. So if you normally trade 100K or 100,000 of pound, that would be the equivalent of me trading like 30,000 of the pound. So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm trading about a third of my normal size in the cable, because I am trading counter trend, and there's a lot of news that surrounds this pair that risks volatility. So therefore, I am trading a smaller position. So you should be just taking that into consideration. I don't unless it was a Brexit negotiations over, and something very positive where it was game changing. At that point in time is when I step up in my position size. That's when I start going, full size, or maybe even more than full size. But right now it's more of I'm looking at technicals and I'm trying to trade a pivot, like some sort of technical pivot where we're going to get some support, and so therefore I'm trading much smaller than normal. And you should be doing something like that if you're going to take a trade like this, especially when you're going counter trend. You just don't want to expose yourself too greatly, because there's a high probability of me getting stopped out in this position. So anyway, I just wanted to explain that. I hope it made sense to you guys. One of the other things that I'll tell you that I did buy this morning is I bought the Aussie dollar. Now, I know you guys are looking at stocks and going, oh my God, the stock market is down. Why would you be buying the Aussie? Well, it's another counter trend trade. It is 161% extension of this move. You can see this this last move higher, or 161% extension. DSI is over, I think it was registering at 10. The daily RSI is oversold. I'm about ready to put my stops at break even. I bought it, this morning. As soon as I got in the chat room, I, told everybody, hey, I just picked up the Aussie dollar at 75. So if you guys are buying it here, you're only paying up, 7 pips more than I paid for it a little bit earlier. But I am playing this 161% extension. So can we extend further? Sure we can. That's why, you have to, again, this is another situation when you trade counter trend, you got to keep your stops close and keep them tight, and don't risk much. And I've said this time and time again, especially even this week. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. So especially when you're trading counter trend, you want to, take a position, keep a stop, keep it relatively tight. Say, if it doesn't work out and I get stopped out here, that's it. I walk away from it. I, dust my hands off and, get back up again and try to trade again. But right now moves are pretty extended, and some of the sentiment is at extreme. So I'm willing to take a little bit of risk, especially that I had such a good week trading. I had a great week earlier this week from shorting the dollar Canadian up at these levels. I shorted the dollar Canadian, when we were up in the 80s, and I covered most of it when we were in the 30s, and I was pretty aggressive in that move. So I've got some profits that I'm trading with at this point that I'm willing to risk, and on some of these counter trend things. So that's kind of how I'm approaching today. Now, as far as data goes, we have University of Michigan consumer sentiments coming out in about an hour, so it's nothing coming out here in a few minutes. So obviously, if you want the rest of my analysis, I do all the basic and candlestick technical analysis, not all of it, but a lot of it, especially the end of day North American analysis throughout the course of the week. So if you want to see what my charts look like and what I'm looking at, you can click on basic technical analysis, and my updates are at night. So and you get a good daily overview of how I feel about all the instruments that we cover. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my colleagues, Steve and Stelios, and I hear Andre's here today.
Yes, Andres is going to be with us. Hi, Blake. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Steve, and hello, Stelios.
Hello.
And so Andre, if you guys don't know, he does the harmonic analysis for us for these currency pairs, and I love when Andre comes on, because it takes a certain talent to see harmonic patterns in the market, and I can see some of the basic ones, but when you start getting into some of the complex formations, it's really good to have a somebody like Andre, who has been looking at these setups for so long, he can visually see them really quickly, and he points them out, in his analysis in ForexAnalytix. So I'm excited for Andre to be here with you guys today. I think it's going to be a wonderful treat for you. Who do you have as a guest today, Dale?
Norm Winsky, and I call Andre the Picasso of harmonic.
There we go. Yeah, it takes a certain talent, and it's a talent that I don't really possess. So that's why I love having him on the team. I love having Gregor Horvat, because Elliott waves and harmonic analysis, that advanced technical analysis, those formations are not easy for me to see, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. So to have guys like that to be able to lean on to see setups in the market is very valuable. So hope you guys get a lot from today's analysis, and I'm going to pass it over to Steve first, because I'm sure Steve has 100,000 words for you guys this morning before Andre comes on. So Steve, it's coming over to you.
Have a nice weekend, Blake.
Hey, you guys too, and don't forget to check out Forest Park FX. They are our sponsor for the FACE webinars, and they will help you find a broker that will be more suited to your trading style. Just go to the reimbursement program link in ForexAnalytix to find out more about Forest Park FX, because
they can become your sponsor.
Yeah.
In essence.
How about this, guys, for a tagline for those guys? Trading is a picnic at Forest Park.
If Trent's listening in, I'm sure he just wrote that down. So
yeah, okay, anyway.
All right, guys, have a great one.
You too.
I told you multiple times in the past. You should have been a poet or something.
Yeah, well, I am a writer. I was a journalism major.
You see?
Yeah, you're right.
So, Stelio, any news?
Well, we talked about the UK and developments there in terms of Prime Minister May's impending departure, and the breakdown of talks between the Conservatives and Labour, which has been hitting the pound, understandably. The other thing which happened overnight was that the Chinese said that they are not interested in talking with the US for now in terms of the trade deal. So I think we now move to the next meeting between Trump and Xi, which is sometime in June, if I recall correctly. So this is another never-ending story, it seems. But
as it seems, it's the year of those stories.
Yeah, the market still doesn't buy it that much, because we've rallied 200 handles in the S&P on the back of this rumors of a trade deal, and now they've kind of the Chinese have kind of backed off. But the market, okay, it's down today, but really we're still at 2,850 points. So there is still hope in the market that at some point something's going to happen.
Yeah. Hope dies last. You know what they say.
Yes. Otherwise, we had very little. So that's really the two main things of the overnights that we had.
Okay, perfect. Let me address a few questions that we seem to have, and then I'm going to pass it to Andre.
And Steve, I just want to remind you that Norm has to start 10 minutes early today. He's in big demand on full moons. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, he's going. Everyone wants to talk about the blue moon with Norm today. So.
Okay. As long as it's not the Blue Lagoon, it's okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay then. Okay, let me just pass it to Andre then, because he won't have enough time otherwise. Anyhow, not much has been moving overnight. As Stelio said, we have a pullback in indices which were overdone the last 3 days in the reaction without really having any positive news. Cable is still getting destroyed lower. I mean, we've moved from literally almost 132 to 127 and change, within just a matter of a couple of weeks. Other than that, the one thing I want to note here is the rejection. If you remember, we kept saying yesterday, Blake said it, I said it, that, USD yen, this is an area of resistance, and, so far we're getting rejected from that. So I would be careful here, because another move lower towards the long-term symmetrical triangle support is looking quite likely. Now, what's going to happen from there is a different story, and one that's going to have a big impact in the market one way or another. Crude still at resistance, so keep that in mind. And having to do with the metals, because we have a question about the metals, quite a big rejection from 1300 for gold, and silver, on the other hand, is breaking through this descending wedge. So be very careful here, especially silver looks very bearish here. I mean, a retest. It might be a throw over. We're going to see, but a retest of $14 doesn't seem at all unlikely. So having said that, very briefly, so because Andre has just 15 minutes left, let me pass it to Andre so he can give us his point of view of what are the best opportunities out there having to do with harmonics. And as you know, harmonics are there you go, I found you, Andre. Harmonics are the discipline that likes to find reversals in the market, and this is a market that has several tickers at the moment looking good for potential reversals. So what do you think, Andre?
Hello, everyone. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Andre. Hello,
Steve,
Picasso.
Dale, how are you? I'm
Good,
fine,
buddy.
thank you. Picasso.
Was he
Thank you very
Portuguese, Picasso, or just Spanish?
No, it was Italian, I believe.
Italian.
Or Spanish, Steve. I'm not sure. Picasso, eventually, yeah. I drive a Picasso, but I'm not a Picasso.
Oh, you drive a Citroën Picasso. You're so brave that you actually own a French car. Okay.
It's
oh my
true.
God! I didn't even know there was a car named a Picasso.
It's true.
Yeah, it is true. I've only made the mistake of owning a French car once in my life.
What was it? A Renault?
Eventually, it will be the last one, Steve. It's an old car already.
It was a Citroën Xara.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was a fast one. It was driving very nicely. The only problem is that half of the days it was in the repair shop. Literally half of the days that I owned it.
Does the car keep its nose up in the air and it's kind of arrogant?
Not a Citroën for sure. Not a Citroën for sure.
And the horn says "Ugly American, ugly American." Right? All right, go ahead, Andre.
So let's talk about the cable that we are all worried about and that Blake has engaged that's on a long. And let me show you this pattern. This was published last March 24th, and for our subscribers. So if you are thinking reasons or motives to subscribe ForexAnalytix, so this is just one tiny or a peanut of what we will find inside ForexAnalytix. So this was published last 24th March. And I was expecting a violation of this, I'm sorry, a violation of this 200 moving average. We are now trading very close to the completion point of this shark pattern, which is the 168 extension, the 113 extension. Well, I have a cluster here that I want to share with you because this will be the cluster where I will start to pay more attention on cable. So at this point, 168 extension, the pattern will complete 127. So this is the completion point for the next shark pattern, which can also extend to the 224 extension. And in that case, it will put the price retesting this fractal monthly support. I believe, and since the market is now threatening this previous weekly support, fractal support also, which is now adjusted to this one. So the market has printed a new weekly support. Previously, this was, let me unlock this. This was the previous weekly fractal support. The market is now violating that major support level. But I believe and we are now obviously, as mentioned by Blake, we are now entering oversold territory. So I believe at some point the market needs to bounce. I still believe, and I'm still waiting for the completion point for the pattern. So we are very close to the 127 extension from this first swing, from this monthly resistance to the most recent fractal, the weekly support here. So we are approaching that cluster zone. So this is my interest zone for cable at this point. Until there, I have my alerts positioned at a few points above. So as soon as the platform starts to alert me about those levels, I will start to think what to do. So this is cable, and let's jump into. I have a few instruments here. I believe I will not have time to cover all of them. I will try to be faster. So bullish high-down divergence on oil, suggesting more upside momentum. So we are now trading also the daily fractal supports, the most recent resistance, I'm sorry. The market has bounced from this support level. And this bullish high-down divergence, as published at that time when the market starts to approach this 200 moving average, suggests more upside momentum. So, and basically what I want to show you on oil is the previous and most recent price behavior on the bottoms. So we have clear bullish divergence. Here we have bullish high-down divergence there, and we have bullish either divergence now above and rejecting the 200 moving average as support. So I believe there's a, well, the market is telling something, that there's bullish momentum suggestions based on the high-down divergence that we have at this point. So I will not be surprised to see oil retesting this weekly fractal above from here. Obviously, we need to wipe or to vanish with this daily fractal. Dixie, and with all the consequences for the measures or the related to dollar pairs or instruments, I was expecting the violation or the breakout below this daily support level. But as you can see, the market has rejected that idea, has recovered above this, at that time, this parallel channel, covering those close prices, those body candles during this bearish momentum, and it has ended up breaking above now again the monthly resistance printed last March 7th. So this is a crucial level for me. So this, if the market decides to trade below this monthly resistance, this previous fractal, I believe the market will trade lower at this point, and because the market is showing also some potential for more bullish momentum, beside the fact that we are trading overbought at this point, I will not be surprised to see new highs on Dixie, and well, if that happens, I will search for those pressure levels above. So at this point, I still I changed it a little bit into this bullish momentum after a breakout of this structure on Dixie. Overbought conditions, also daily or the most recent fractal resistance right there. So we need to violate that pressure level first, and then to confirm there's a higher probability to keep trading higher from here. More CAD, it's also rejecting actually it's now breaking this structure. Let me change into this is a 4 hours time frame, so the market is trying to violate this most recent fractal. Let me go into a daily time frame chart to show you the full patterns here. So we have these.
It's the third time that they use the CAD consolidating and then breaking higher.
I believe it will fill eventually the heads and shoulders
target,
target or default projection. Yeah. At this point, we have
very likely.
This bearish shark pattern. It has already found support at the default target, the 50% retracement, which is here. So we can see the shark printed at 224 extension and then support at the 50% retracement. And then again, bullish high-down divergence between those lows, suggesting more upside momentum, beside the fact that we have also this triangle, this flag shape pointing upside the structure. So I still think a retest of these 135 to form this eventual bat pattern at 88% retracement is a possibility, and from there we will see, let's say if the market ends up completing, it will suggest a retracement to the 38% retracement, which is now the daily or the most recent daily and fractal support. Euro versus cable, a very interesting one. This is a weekly time frame that I want to show you, and this is a butterfly that I published also and shared among our community right there before the market started to print those white candles there. So the market has printed that 127 extension, the bullish butterfly pattern. We have one first swing, a double bottom, and we are now breaking above the next zone. So this daily resistance was also the next zone. We are now trading and confirming or validating that shape and that potential reversal behavior as a double bottom, very close to the 200 moving average, and the market is started to bounce. Actually, the market is already approaching the 50% retracement above the first and default target for the pattern. So this is a weekly time frame. I will not be surprised to see a retest or a reinforcement of this channel, and then we will see what will happen from there, because there's also a possibility to form. I need to measure that pattern, but there's also a possibility to form one eventual bat pattern above, eventually retesting that structure at 88% retracement, which is positioned at a few points above. But let's see it at this point. This is a weekly time frame chart, and it will take a few weeks to achieve. Let's hope it will take a few weeks to achieve those levels. Dollar versus CHF is retesting previous structure support now as resistance. Let me try to show you also on a daily time frame chart the pattern printed here. So we have this the breakout of this structure above, and the price has failed to achieve the default target, the 38% retracement. I will not ignore that possibility. The market failed to enter my extreme oversold condition, so a new low at oversold bullish divergence eventually. I will not be surprised to see that happen. For the probability for that to happen, we need to reject this previous structure support level, which I will not also be surprised to see a retest of that support level, and then a new low, eventually targeting that default expectation, the Fibonacci 38% retracement. We are approaching your time, Dale. Let me just show you. I want to show you gold.
You get done a lot in 15 minutes, Andre. Great work.
Yeah, they have that study already there, so I just need to share.
Right.
This is new Kiwi also approaching a Gartley pattern at 0.64 at 127 extension, above the monthly support, fractal support printed last 8 October. So we wait until there. I have nothing to say until there. I want to finish with gold. Because as I published yesterday, so this was this is a daily time frame at this point. This was the bearish bat pattern printed at 88% retracement, also shared among our community before the completion point, which is important for us to manage our trade and to study and to measure our risk for that trade, if it was or not to put our capital at risk. So I like to project and to share those patterns before the completion point in order to give people time to think about that trade. So I started to follow those swings on oil, and we have a few things here. So I have a technical double bottom here because the second bottom or the second low retesting the first one has rejected to trade below the close price of the first one. So this is for me the starting where I start to think, okay, eventually if the market violates the neck, okay, if the market, for those who are learning process, this is not a trade setup. There's a validation point for that potential reversal behavior, which is a double bottom, and we need it, which requires a broken neck. So we need the price trading above this neck zone in order to validate that shape as a potential reversal price behavior. In the meanwhile, the price is also printed these kind of lefts and heads and shoulders here. Projections already filled above of, obviously the market has, as soon as the market violates these highs or this resistance level. And as soon as that happens, I started to project the bearish pattern at 88% retracement. The market has failed that fib retracement level just by a few points. So at this point, we are trading the 50% retracement from all this swing, and we are now actually threatening the most recent fractal for our support. This point will be, for me, will be important, not only because we have these highs here, this kind of a virtual trend line as a resistance or a pressure element, which I will not ignore the possibility for the price to find some pressure at the same trend line or the same virtual line there, synced with the 61.8 retracement, which will print us the 26.18 trade setup. As I said before, it will not work every time. I wish they work 100% of the time that I found them, but it's a setup as any other. Double bottom followed by the golden fib retracement. Let's see what the market will offer us at that point. We are already trading oversold, extremely oversold. I'm curious to think what the price will, how the price will react around this 200 moving average, previous structural resistance. So let's say we are now threatening this neck zone. Usually people tend to search for a specific price. Okay, this is a neck at this point, but we need to understand there's a cluster around that level that we need to wait for the price to decide what to do. So at this point, I still believe there is a possibility for a bounce on gold, eventually on silver, that I don't have time to cover it for today, but we'll be here for the next week for sure. I just need to wish you all a nice weekend. And
same to you, Andre.
All the best for you and your families. Thank you very much, Dale.
Okay, Picasso. All right, Norm.
Thank you.
I'm going to make you the presenter now. Okay, like the outer limits, Norm, you have the control of our TVs.
All right. Hello. Good morning, Dale. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Norm. Got you,
Okay.
buddy. Happy blue moon to you.
Oh, thank you. Is it a blue moon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Surprised you didn't know that. 2 full moons in the same month, right? Is a blue moon.
You are. Well, let's see.
Blue moon.
No, I don't think so. I think you got.
I thought it was a blue moon.
I don't see that. No.
Okay. Well,
Anyway, so
it's a white moon. Go ahead.
If there are any history fans out there, today is the 227th anniversary for the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh well, man, did we have fun that day?
I know. I think you weren't you there?
Yeah.
The Buttonwood tree there, Dale?
Yeah, I was. At the Button Works factory. Yeah.
Buttonwood tree there. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
The Buttonwood Agreement. All right, let's move ahead. I'm going to go back a couple of weeks to the beginning of my May. I started May because it was a Monday on April 29th. And we can learn some things by looking back what's happened here in the last couple of weeks. Maybe we'll learn something that we can use sometime in the future. So the Monday night, April 29th, we had one of my top things was when the planets go direct or retrograde, especially what's called the outer planets. Those are the planets from Jupiter on out. They're the big, long, slow-moving planets, and they tend to have the most power. Saturn turned retrograde that night, And as you'll see in the charts here coming up, that was pretty important. We're going to be looking at coffee and stocks for that. Then the night of May 1, we had Uranus making a 45-degree to Neptune in Pisces, and that'll be cotton because Uranus is in Taurus, the bull, and Neptune's in Pisces, which is the big water, the big liquid. We'll be looking at cattle, cotton, copper, that's Uranus, and oil and stocks. And then the weekend of the 3rd, we had Jupiter line up with Saturn. And then we also had that weekend, we had a new moon in the Taurus, the bull. So we'll be looking at our round up the usual suspects for our new moon, full moon. Plus, because it was in Taurus, the bull, we'll be looking again at the cattle and the cotton. And let's see, there's a new moon, and there we go. Then we have another cluster we just had a few days ago, and so we'll be going over all that. Here's your S&P chart. Yesterday we had a big rally, and we went right back to 618 retracement of this whole down move. We got just a few handles shy of, I believe, 28.96 was about a 618. We got to about 28.92. So there we go. So what we want to see at these times, and by the way, time is the most important factor in the market. Mr. Gann, I'm a student of W.D. Gann, the greatest market technician of the 20th century, and he said time is more important than price. So you don't even need to know what the prices are or the patterns are until you get to the key time window, and then look at the market and see what patterns are set up. So we like to see the markets get to some extreme at these key times. Then we go on kind of on Newton's law, where for every action there's an opposite equal reaction. So the bigger the extreme we get at the key time, probably it's a high probability, probably 70-75% that you're going to get a reversal and a big reaction in the opposite direction, which is how we can make some money. Now, should it not reverse at the key time, then you'll get an acceleration, and then that's why you need to have stop losses and either just get out or go with let the trend be your friend and go with the trend. You'll probably get a big acceleration there, because when it doesn't reverse, it's usually huge in the same direction. All right, here's your S&P chart. As of last night, we were up here on the cash S&P, but overnight, when I last looked a little while ago, the futures were down about 22 handles. And so now, unfortunately, we're back and kind of in the middle of this range. So that's kind of the least desirable scenario. We'll have to wait and see what happens here into the weekend when we have the new moon and this huge cluster. Actually, this is the highest energy window I have for the entire month. So we'll see what happens by Monday's opening. Maybe it'll continue lower and we'll get a big mini crash here into Monday's opening, and then we'll have a buying opportunity as of last night, since we were near the highs, at least the retracement high here. I was thinking, well, maybe we were going to put in a top into the weekend. All right, now we're going to, these marks I put on here, those correspond to all these different planetary events that we had in the past couple of weeks. Green arrow is good. There's a red arrow there. That was a bad date. All these others were potentially money makers. There you go. If you sold there, you waited a day, it hardly went against you. And then it had a nice down there into a bottom. And then you had a nice bottom there. And that was Monday the 6th, I think. And no, that was the 1st of May. There's the night of the 1st, right? Then we rallied up there. There's a big cluster there for over the weekend of the 3rd into Monday the 6th. And we made a nice stop there. And then we went down, down, down. I had some Gann harmonics, math harmonics. If you're a student of Gann, you'll enjoy this. Square days from major turning points. You take, for example, from the May 6th was 65 square days, or 4,225 days from the October 11, 2007 major high. And that was part of this cluster here. There's an M for market math on my chart. Also, I have Fibonacci time cycles, and that also lined up for that same time for a top right there. We were just a little bit shy in price and one day late to that top. Here's another one. We had a big cluster here on the 14th, and over here, the 13th was a nice low, and we had kind of a we were close to the low there on the 1 day late on that big cluster. Then we had to retest on the 15th with my 15th date there, and then we took off to the upside. All right, now we're going to look ahead here now, and yeah, and then this green, you see a green box, that means that we have a change in trend window open now. We'll be watching for a change in trend, and overnight we got that right now. We're down 22 handles, so not sure what that means in the bigger picture into the weekend. We'll have to wait and see how we close today and how Monday's opening looks. We're looking for an extreme. That's where the best trades are. Here's your coffee. Coffee is related to Saturn and Capricorn, and they're back there on April 29th. There's right there where the green arrow is, top of page 2. You had the coffee make a nice short-term top there, and it was down quite a bit for about a week. And there we go. Then we had 1 day shy of the low of the month. I got the high of the month. I'm 1 day off for the low of the month, and then it went up. This was something to do with Saturn and Jupiter. Moving on ahead here now, we got cattle.
Coffee looks like it's trying to break out of that channel.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit of caffeine in it.
There you go.
Okay.
And that's no Java, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Here's cattle. And there's your new moon there on that little top there. That date over here didn't work out. That's why there's a red arrow. Green arrow is money. So we have a little spike high there for the cattle, and then down, down, down. And same thing. And on the here's the cotton here, classic. Didn't work out so well on that date, but this was a breakout on the new moon Monday over the weekend of the 3rd when you had the new moon on Saturday. It broke the support line right there on Monday, and boom, and it had a big down.
Did you have anything on the trade war deal in grains?
I'm coming up to the grains in just a minute. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, we're going to look at the grains in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
Yep. Here's your oil. Did somewhat similar to cotton in that it came to a wedgie apex there right on the new moon, and it had the breakout to the downside there, but it didn't go very far. Just kind of, after it broke out, it kind of chopped sideways. Here's your T-bonds. T-bonds had a window. Oh, right there. There's the green arrow there. 1 day off, but it wasn't very good, and you barely had any kind of decent entry, and then it went slightly higher. Maybe you might have had a chance. It broke out over this little downtrend line there. So you might have had a chance to make a little bit of money there. Not great. Here's your dollar. Was 1 day off of this spike high here, right on the new moon. And then it just kind of drifted lower. And British pound was probably the best looking chart I got here today. It rallied right to the new moon. And to Monday, double top Friday to Monday, the 3rd to the 6th. And that, I think your people will like that, because it doesn't get much better than that.
What do you think now that it's had this decline? You have any turning points
that's a
to
good
now?
question. We're now coming into the new moon, full moon box here. We got the full moon this weekend. And so we'll be looking. It looks like it's scraping bottom here. So I'd be looking for a bottom here, looking for a reversal. If it doesn't turn by like about Monday, then there's trouble in River City. It could go a lot lower,
Got it.
Here's your euro. Euro is not nearly as nice as the British pound. Had a little spike low there, and then chop sideways, and maybe you'd make a few ticks. Nothing to write home about. Gold did not behave very nicely, and I'm going to say that was a miss. However, its cousin silver was much better. The silver rallied right into the new moon there, and you made it kind of looks like the British pound pattern, where you made a double top there over the 3rd into the Monday the 6th, and you made a little bit of a top there, and then down she goes. And again, that's kind of like the British pound in that we're kind of at the bottom of the range here, coming into the full moon. Here's your corn. You ask about the grains, and let's see, we had there. Oh, there we go. There's your new moon right there, back on the weekend of the 3rd into Monday the 6th. You had a little spike low there. It popped up. You could have made a few pennies. Nothing again. Nothing.
You had nothing on the low. Was that the tariff day when the tariff war increased? You had that big spike reversal down there. It looks like the date is the 13th.
Oh, right. I don't remember anything significant on that day. But,
yeah, the trade war.
Right, I understand news. That's news. But you
news.
asked me
Yeah, okay.
anything
You had nothing there.
from the plan.
Astronomically. Yeah,
I
okay.
can't say off the top of my head. I did, so
Okay.
I'll have to, maybe I'll go look again, but we don't have time for that. Here's your beans.
Yeah.
They made a little tiny short-term bottom there on Monday the 6th and had a anemic rally and then failed and went down. So, and here's your wheat.
Wheat's been the star.
Maybe a slightly better. Wheat had a huge rally here since Monday the 13th.
Right.
And that means these grains, I would have preferred to see the grains go down into this weekend. That could have set up a really great buying opportunity. But since they've rallied now into the weekend, now we're probably looking at maybe a short-term top here into the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's look ahead. What's coming up? So we just had something overnight. We had Jupiter make a 90-degree angle to the U.S. natal chart. We take a snapshot of where the planets were when the country was founded on July the 4th, 1706, and that indicates a change of trend for stocks, T-bonds, and dollar, and possibly the U.S. oil. And so far, we've certainly got that on the stock market overnight. When I last looked a while ago, down 22 handles on the S&P. And then we have this weekend, we have a full moon in Scorpio, and that'll be round up your usual suspects, financials, grains, precious metals, and because it's in Scorpio, we're running a special on cocoa, hogs, and T-bonds. There's your Jupiter in Sagittarius. We're going to line up with Uranus and Taurus, and that's going to be cattle, copper, cotton, and stocks. And also the Mercury at 0 north latitude. That's one of my top things where the planets get the 0 latitude as they go around the sun. They not only go round and around, they go up and down. And when they get to that midpoint on their highway there, that's 0 latitude.
I'm getting a question from one of the attendees. Not sure I get what Norm is speaking about. What's the idea of speaking about Capricorn, the new moon? Could you elaborate? I'm not sure I understand the question either, but okay.
Capricorn's one of the signs of the zodiac.
Right.
12 signs. If they want a lesson on this, I'll give a free lesson if they contact me afterwards. I'm a little short on time.
Go ahead. I know say hi to Larry for me after this.
Okay, will do. All right, so we got then we got the full moon coming up here. Jupiter is lining up with Uranus in Taurus. And Mercury, this is what's important for this. Mercury and the moon are the top two short-term indicators for the grains. And look, they're both having a big thing here over the weekend. So that's a convergence of cycles. So the grains could be a big turn here in the grains over the weekend, possibly, And then we have the moon's north node in Cancer. That's going to be silver with a Saturn in Capricorn. That's coffee. So watch for coffee, silver, and stocks. So I'm going to review now these charts just real quick so you can see with those things in mind, okay, what the potential is. Now, obviously, things have moved overnight, but as of the charts last night, here's your S&P had the potential maybe to make a top here, but I had a change in trend overnight, as I indicated, and now we're back to the middle of the range, so I don't know about that one. Coffee has been going up. We don't have that one on the new list, on the new shopping list. We do have cattle, I believe, on the list here, so that could be making a low here. Cotton's the same. If it were to pull back a little bit to the bottom there, that would be good. Oil is kind of going sideways. Not thrilled about that, unless it has some extreme move either way.
Maybe it's topping. You had today's supposed to be an important day in crude. It made a new high and it's coming off.
Okay. Here's your T-bonds. Looks like they might be they got a little pullback here. Maybe they'll make a low over the weekend. There's your dollar. That definitely looks like it's at the top of its channel. Could be putting in a top here. If it breaks out over that red line, though, then you're looking at acceleration to the upside. British pound is pretty clear. It's should be near a low, unless it breaks the channel on the downside. And again, you're looking at acceleration to the downside. Euro is scraping bottom, so that we'd be looking for a low there. There's your gold. It's been coming down and into the full moon. So we're looking for a low there. Same thing on the silver. Your greens are all have rallied now into this time window, and so we'd be looking, if they're assuming they're up sideways or up today, we'd be looking for a top, and that kind of covers that. So here's the only charts we haven't looked at now. Our cocoa is indicated for this weekend. It's rallied now in the last few days to the top of its channel, so we'll be looking for a top there. And same hogs have had a little bit of rally here into today. So looking for a top there, and the only chart left is copper. It's kind of been generally coming down. If it would pull back a little bit into the weekend, that would be a possible buying opportunity. So now, get a hold of me, folks. I give free classes out. Just tell me Dale sent you, and you can get the quickie class where I teach you how to day trade in 20 minutes. Very successful day trading system, and I will prove it. Or you can get the deluxe class where I teach you GAN and Astro and fractals and advanced Fibonacci and about everything I've learned in the past 50 years. I'm a former Chicago floor trader, started studying the markets when I was a teenager, 15. I'm 68 now, so that's like 53 years. And I was on the Chicago exchanges there right out of college.
You're starting to get the hang of things now?
I'm practicing.
Okay.
Anyway, there's my contact info. I'm here in sunny Florida, and you can call me or you can email me. And there's my Skype, and Winsky_1. And looking forward to helping some of your folks, Dale.
All right. Thank you, Norm. I really appreciate you dropping by. Good hunting.
And you might have a minute or two. I could probably field the 1 or 2 questions if there's anybody out there.
Someone said, I didn't link astrology and trading, but if it works for Norm, I won't question it. Just it went pattern.
Dale, I know this stuff looks complicated, but they take my class, they'll find out this is all.
Yeah, he's got a free class, so you could ask the man the question, okay?
Right, but what I wanted to say is,
get a hold of him.
This stuff looks complicated, but when I explain it all, you'll find that everything's on a grade school level. There's nothing here that you couldn't do, as a 5th grader can't do,
Yeah, so free. All you're doing is spending some time and talking to a guy that really has a great handle on some of the lost arts that you don't hear about anymore. I don't think there are algos based on astronomy yet. Anyway,
well, I got the biggest computer there is, Dale. It's called the Solar.
Your brain. Oh yeah, that really is a nice computer. All right, well, Norm, I love you, buddy. Thanks for dropping by today, and have a great weekend. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you very much, Dale.
And I encourage everyone to, check it out and take Norm's free course and see if you have an interest. You only know if you try it. So that's a wrap for us this week, everyone. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Have a great weekend. And don't forget to do your work over the weekend. Check out Blake's week ahead video. And that's it. Enjoy your weekend, as I said, and we'll be back here Monday to kick ass. See everyone then. Thank you again, Norm.
Thank you. Have a great week.